Hey gang, Uncle Todd and Sonny here in our superhero regalia for our second superhero film. This time we're headed over to Italy and SuperArgo and the Faceless Giants. This is the second SuperArgo film and the last. In the first film he was a wrestler, and he inadvertently killed an opponent in the ring. And so he quit wrestling, and not knowing what to do with himself, his girlfriend convinces him to talk to a friend who's in Secret Service, and he becomes an agent and fights Diabolicus. It's a standard espionage film with a masked hero. In the second one, they added some mystical superpowers for SuperArgo and had him face off against a mad scientist and his creations. The film opens with another wrestler who, after winning his match, runs into some mysterious characters.
What do they want? Let go of them! You got your sister. Let go! I said let go of him!
This is the 17th, I believe, attack that has happened over the past couple of years. Always strong athletes, always abducted by these weird-looking men. The Secret Service is called in, and in this film, SuperArgo works for a local police. I believe this is set in Los Angeles. Well, they imply it's America anyways. And the Secret Service goes over to SuperArgo's apartment. He's not really happy about having to be with SuperArgo. You can't be running around in a mask and tights and get any work done. And SuperArgo and his Hindu mentor, what is his name? Could really use my glasses here. Come on. Should have known that. Come on. And to demonstrate his abilities, SuperArgo shatters a vase with his mind. Well, this impresses the head of the Secret Service. He says, okay, we can use you. But SuperArgo has a demand. He must be given complete control, free hand. No one gives him any orders. Does this investigation his way. Nope. Can't agree with that. So, that's that. Until this happens. So, the president calls the head of the Secret Service and says SuperArgo has a free hand. He wants no argument on this. So, SuperArgo's brought in on the case, and his first order of business is the last abductee's sister was with him, and they tried to abduct her too. She is a champion swimmer. So, he knows she must be their next target, and he is going to hang out with her until they attack. Nice job if you can get it. Oh, and we learned the whole reason for the costume.
Anyway, the reason's simple enough. It was my costume as a professional wrestler, and because it brought me good luck then, I still wear it.
That's it. Yeah, it is pretty lame. Anywho, let's move on to the abduction. Well, after SuperArgo pins one of them to the wall with a spear, he gives chase but loses them. And then when he returns to the scene of the crime, he makes a startling discovery.
Here, pinned to the door with a spear. Look at that. That's the hole it left. Why, he couldn't have walked away by himself. He was dead. The point of the spear went right through his heart. But it's perfectly clean. That's funny.
Well, left with no alternative, he comes up with a new plan. He'll use himself as bait, and has it announced SuperArgo is returning to the ring. Sure that they will try to abduct him. So, after he knocks the stuffing out of a guy in the ring, his plan seems to work. Don't think that was part of his plan. Actually, it turns out it was, because that wasn't him. That was a decoy, and they're following. But they lose them in the woods again. So, SuperArgo and Kamal separate and search, and they lose radio contact with each other. And they realize the Giants, as they're being referred to, are being controlled by electrical impulses, which interfered with their two-way radios. Then they meet someone who will become important to the plot later on.
I've been using this road for years. I live up there in that castle.
I didn't realize that anybody lived there.
Oh, yes. It was abandoned when my husband bought it. He had the right wing restored before he died. Goodbye, SuperArgo. By the way, I'm Gloria Devon. I hope we meet again.
So do I.
No time to ponder the implications of her living so close to where all the giant activity is happening, because SuperArgo gets attacked, which allows him to finally accomplish what he originally set out to do.
Damnation. They took one of my men. That's more than I bargained for.
Yes, those sharp-eyed viewers out there will have recognized the actor playing the mad scientist. That's Guy Madison. Anyone who is a fan of 50s TV will probably remember him for his stint as the title character in The Adventures of Wild Bill Hickok. I mostly know him from the Mystery Science Theater episode showing one of his more interesting films, The Beast of Hollow Mountain, which was a cowboy meets dinosaur flick. Not too bad, except the dinosaur only appears at the end. Anywho, Madison, like Lex Barker and Cameron Mitchell, found that when work slowed down in America, he found a bit of a career revival in Europe. Although, unlike Lex Barker, he didn't get to appear in a Fellini film. Well, SuperArgo takes the body back to the lab, and they make a startling discovery.
No blood, naturally. A completely artificial form of life.
Electrical impulse circulation. There's still a residue of energy, but the mechanism is beyond repair.
So that's that.
Yep. Those giants are basically cyborgs. That's why they've been kidnapping athletes. The athletes are the robots. Diabolical. Well, SuperArgo learns that this kind of thing was pioneered by a famous scientist who's now in an asylum. And he goes to visit this scientist who is pretty out there. But he does learn. Scientist's notebooks are missing. And his daughter is Grace, the woman he met earlier. So, the mad scientist, Dr. Wand, who was Claire's father's assistant, realizes SuperArgo is getting too close. So, he brainwashes Claire and sends her out. SuperArgo finds her, brings her home, and then that night, well, I think you can guess what happens.
Kill. 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 What happened? If my costume weren't bulletproof, I'd be dead now.
Well, that was convenient. Also detecting a little bit of influence from the old Batman TV show. It was an international phenomenon, after all. And this came out about that time. Anyway, they rush Claire to the hospital, where she's put under a doctor's care. And SuperArgo goes to visit the lair of the villain, where he plants a listening device and then has his first tete-a-tete with the man.
The psychiatrists seem quite certain that they know how to cure him.
Nonsense.
As a former friend, you'll be glad to hear that Brzezinski is being transferred to a government hospital for a new cure.
Of course, after SuperArgo leaves, Dr. Wanda and Gloria discuss their plans to grab the old man. Gloria wants no harm to come to him, and he doesn't want him, and Wanda doesn't want him spilling any more secrets. Of course, this is all heard on the listening device, and when they come to take on the transfer, SuperArgo demonstrates his new tricked-out car. Unfortunately, the car gets rammed and disabled and explodes. So, SuperArgo and Kamal are now on foot, where they demonstrate another little nifty device SuperArgo came up with. As effective as those guns are, there's just too many and they're eventually captured. Whereupon, Dr. Wand is getting a little ticked off about the fact he keeps trying to have one of his henchmen chop off SuperArgo's head, but SuperArgo keeps using his mystical mind powers to hypnotize the guard into not doing it. So, he goes with his old standby, the inescapable doom trap.
Nothing can save you now. In a few seconds, your cell will be filled with gas, DHL and cyanide.
Well, things don't look good. After the chamber is mostly filled, it's a little heavier than air, so, you know. But, like they're goners. When Gloria finds out, she rushes to see if she can save them, even knowing full well it's too late. They must have inhaled the gas by this point. Yes, using the levitation trick that actually was shown at the beginning of the film, he was able to float above the gas. And so, as they make their way to escape, as they make their way to free the prisoners, the other athletes, they get into a Donnybrook with the henchmen, in which tragedy strikes.
Leave him alone!
Yes, Gloria died doing the right thing. Well, about this time, Wand is released the Faceless Giants. So, SuperArgo races to the catacombs, frees the athletes that are still prisoner, and with their help manages to push all the Faceless Giants into the cells and electrocute them by putting a wire on the cell bars, which just leaves Dr. Wand to take care of. Man, SuperArgo don't play around. Surprised he didn't throw him head first into that quicksand. But after a little pithy bon mot, a la James Bond, we then cut to Claire, who's almost fully recovered, as she and SuperArgo come to a understanding.
You can take your mask off now, SuperArgo. Your mission is over.
And thus, much like Lee Falk's The Phantom, the ghost who walks, when you find that certain someone, they can see you without the mask. Although considering he had a girlfriend in the first film, I assume if they had made a third one, he would have had another heroine to fall in love with. You know, the James Bond thing again. European superhero films, they are an acquired taste, much like Japanese kaiju or Mexican luchador films, or Italy's sword and sand epics. You either really get into these or you find them the dumbest thing in the world. And there were a slew of these in the 60s and 70s. You had, besides SuperArgo, you had Argo Man. No connection. There was the Three Supermen, which was a secret agent and two ex-thieves who wore bulletproof leotards with capes. Blue and red, of course. As well as the super masked criminals like Sadistic and Diabolic. It was just a fad back in the late 60s to early 70s. Of course, mostly inspired by Adam West. as Batman. I unfortunately have acquired the taste for these films. I really enjoy them. They are silly, but they're fun. They're serious, but not too serious. So that they're more enjoyable, very camp oriented. And they like to work in a lot of stuff, like in this one with the mad scientist and his Frankensteinian creations that he made. Oh, excuse me. It's all that sparkling water I've been drinking. But, yeah, this is an enjoyable one. It's got a lot of good action in it. It doesn't have the budget of like the Adam West Batman TV show, and that was pretty threadbare at times, especially in the third season. But for a low-budget film, you've got some good actors in it. Guy Madison is the only one I know, but the guy playing SuperArgo is pretty good. He's really big, too. Of course, that could have been a stuntman. It looks huge. And this is a different mask he wore than in the first film. The first film actually came under his chin like that. So I think this is a better one for the film because you get to see a little bit more of his face. And yeah, really enjoyable. Something that you can check out. You can have fun with. I believe Riff Tracks did a number on it. And I first saw it on Cinema Insomnia when those used to be on YouTube. Although I think they're coming back. But yeah, I really enjoy the just the whiz bang of the superhero aspect of it all. And confidentially, with the exception of the new Batman films, I like these better than the Marvel films. Keep that between us. You know, I don't want to lose my geek cred, as it were. But that's about all I got to say about this little piece of joy. Please hit like, share, and subscribe, and stay after for my favorite scene.